Oracles of Olympus. Welcome to Oracles of Olympus, the podcast of all things in miniature wargaming, role-playing, board games, and general nerd culture, all with a taste of cynicism, sarcasm, and nerdy banter. Please join Kyle, Ryan, CJ, and GM Drew as we break down all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are. 5, 4.
That's funny because I was actually recording already before.
That's so good. You fucking got me.
Oh, buddy.
Hey, kids. Welcome to Oracles of Olympus.
Kids.
We are
Hey,
kids.
What? That has never been our. That has never been our intro.
God damn it, GM Drew.
Also, like this episode's just for the kids. This one.
No.
Nope.
No, it's not.
Like, literally none of the things we do are really great for, like, a young audience.
No. No.
We're bare minimum a PG-13 podcast.
Like we're
bare minimum. Push an R. most of the
there's
time.
sometimes we push into the soft R.
The soft R.
There's a hard R.
I try to limit myself in F-bombs, but sometimes they just fly
Yeah, last
right
week
out.
was a soft R.
Yeah.
Because you're only allowed one in
I know
a
you're
PG-13.
one in a PG, but I appreciate that because it used to be 0 in a PG-13.
Yeah.
You couldn't just say the F,
Yeah.
you couldn't just drop them.
You're like, mother.
Now we're throwing them out like we're bombing Syria, like it's indiscriminately and full of justice, really. Just good stuff,
Where are those F-bombs coming from?
right?
We don't know.
Where are we starting with this thing?
Carpet bombing.
So we should probably introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
Are we going?
We're going.
you're putting all of this in?
It's yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
my word.
Oh, good. Well, we're extra professional today, guys.
Yeah.
I'm Kyle. It's nice to meet you. Welcome to the fireside for a chat.
Have a seat down by the fire.
Yes, have a seat.
Roast the.
There are some
the
things we need to
marshmallow.
discuss.
Yes.
Indeed.
And I'm Ryan. That's about it.
As soon as he says that, we both look at GM Drew.
Yeah. We're just waiting for your introduction.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about Twitch for a second, where they can find you and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. So I'm Ryan, also known as Harlem Struggle on Twitch.
Edgelord.
Yeah, super awesome. No, I love my name.
I know you do.
I know. But you can find me at twitch.tv, Harlem_struggle, or you can also find me on Twitter. Same handle. And the E's are 3s because I'm
An Edgelord.
in Edgelord. No, actually what it was is someone took the name and I had to change it out because I was really hell-bent on having that as my name. Someone had the name with E's. Not anymore, but everything's branded out with the 3s, so now
so
I just
what's
got to
the
go
line?
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
how
that's
that
fair.
came about.
Gotcha.
All right. I'm GM Drew. I wait every week for the giggling.
It's so good.
Well, I'm a GM.
It fits you.
I'm a GM
right.
too.
Right.
But I know you. Hi, I'm GM Kyle.
Well, you can't steal it from me, actually.
Yeah, I'm not going to see. It's okay.
No problem.
Are you a certified GM?
I used to be. I can. Yeah,
What's
they don't do
what's
that
it like to
anymore.
get certified as a GM?
It
Do
means
you
nothing.
get a pocket protector? You're like, here's your complimentary pocket protector. Here's the
And-
tape to tape your glasses back
Yep.
up when you eventually drop them.
You know what? One time they did, Watsy did send me some dungeon tiles, which was kind of cool, and they were limited edition.
Ooh.
If I remember right, they were like pirate ships and whatnot, and they meant so much to me that I sold them on eBay.
Yay!
Oh, so anyway, shout outs. We have a couple shout outs this week.
Hell yeah.
On iTunes, we have the Furry Fury.
The Furry Fury. High five to you.
Yeah.
Right.
We definitely giggled about that name.
The Furry Fury says, if you're looking for gaming news, it's here. But not without equally as much shenanigans and discussions on local star Jim Weaver.
Jim Weaver's he's a real star.
He's the real motivation for the show.
Oh,
Great listening and good times are had on Olympus Podcasts. Fun group of dudes. Hope it stays as much fun as it is to listen.
Well, shit, no pressure. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks. Come on. No, we appreciate you. Thank you.
And I also want to do a quick shout out to everyone who commented and gave feedback on our YouTube.
Absolutely.
Because we had overwhelming positive response for the painting booth.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're definitely going to move forward with that idea. Like we're. I'm gonna try and Bob Ross this thing up as much as I can. Like I was literally like trying to picture what kind of apron I would wear.
I like it.
Can we mini perm your hair?
Mini perm my hair?
Yeah.
I mean Jenna is a
Well, actually, I have long hair. We could just do
perm yours. Perm your hair.
Yeah, I could get like a mini fro going, and I'd be like,
I love it.
I would so
also
do
on
this.
YouTube, just a few of the people that commented on there. Zero G, thank you so much. Willie277 and Jason Brock.
Jason Brock, brave enough to use his own name.
Yeah, right?
And now it's out on the internet in the ether.
In the ether, the aether.
I don't know why we have to always go to pirates, but it's fun.
I feel like it's easy.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, and I'm still playing Quadrant a lot right
True.
now. So I downloaded Black Wake yesterday on Steam.
Black Wake?
Yeah, so Black Wake is a pirate game.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like literally the entire time, like it's basically a ton of people just like shrieking at each other to like repair holes in your ship and not drown.
Why don't we just go to the upgraded new one? Sea of Thieves?
As soon as it comes out, it's in closed beta.
Well, no, is it closed beta?
It's closed beta. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As far as I can tell.
I thought it was going to be.
I was not able to find it.
pre-release.
Maybe. I will definitely play Sea of
Yeah.
Thieves. You should all come play Sea of Thieves with us.
Yes.
We would love to play games with you.
I will scream at the top of my lungs. Prepare to be bored.
Yeah, basically, it was just me doing the like pirate voice the whole time, and people getting really irate about it. They're like, "We're trying to play a game," and I'd be like, "Run out the guns, Mr. Tukes!
Man the cannons, you sea lubbers!"
Like we're getting like shot to pieces, and everyone's dying, and I'm like, "Get the men in order!" Like I'm kind of like the guy's like, "You're not even the captain," and I was like, "I could be." Like
I got his spyglass.
I did. I had a spyglass. The best part about the entire thing, straight up, man, you get to pick your like weapons and gear, and I definitely got to pick a broken bottle for my melee weapon. I'm like literally stabbing people with like a shitty wine bottle.
Yar!
It was like, this is the best melee weapon because you get to drink the insides first. It was a lot of fun, but I digress. So.
Cool. We'll be right back after these messages.
These messages.
Do you need more kick-ass gear for your gaming? Come to Olympus Games and Comics. We've got awesome stuff like dreadnoughts and Lehman Russ battle tanks. Do you need to purge more heretics? Pick up a dreadnought. Maybe you need to kick some serious ass with Primaris Marines.
All right, and we're back after those riveting messages.
Yeah, they were so good, right? I like the one with the thing.
Where the guy said the
stuff. Yeah. Hopefully it's not like just a G.I. Joe.
By the way, I love that.
I got some great comments on that.
So for everybody out there, we had no clue that was coming. Like that was just totally a GM Drew thing. So like we were like, I liked your G.I. Joe PSA, and I was just like, cool, thanks. Like I don't know what. I was like,
G.I. Joe PSA.
So I had to go like listen to it and be like, oh, okay, G.I. Joe PSA in there.
When I was uploading it, I listened to it as I'm uploading it, so I can get like things to put in for the description or to add little funny things. all of a sudden it was just like G.I. Joe out of nowhere, and I just busted out laughing. Like I was cacking maniacally in my basement at like 2 a.m. Like,
Love it.
Okay, so first thing we're going to do is talk about miniatures, and Kyle has the Adeptus Custodes Codex in his
Not
hands.
the Custodes.
yes.
I feel like I have to mention that for CJ. And by the way, in case you guys didn't know, CJ is at the Las Vegas Open, which is a big miniature tournament this weekend. So that's why he's not here on the podcast. We didn't kill him or eat him or anything weird. Although I'm just saying, like, if we were all on a plane together and we crashed in the Andes, like, I'm definitely going feral with, like, day one. Like, it could be like we crashed within sight of a town and I'm still considering eating people. Like, I've just never known what
There's a Pizza Hut
like.
right there. Yeah.
Just want to know how they taste. I heard they
Kind of
taste
far away.
sugary.
I
'cause of how
bet.
much
Well, yeah,
shit
it's
we
like, food tastes like what it eats, right? So it's probably everybody tastes like crap in McDonald's. Like, but I like McDonald's, right? Like, it's a guilty pleasure. So
I taste like protein shakes. And
that's.
amino acids.
I feel like you would definitely taste terrible. Not that I think about eating human flesh often.
protein shakes.
No,
and wheat
what?
breads.
At least weekly you tell me about this. And I'm at work and you're just like, hey, we could go for like, I heard that humans smell great. Cooking.
I bet they smell like Jimmy Dean sausages.
See?
But anyway, let's talk about the Army of Terra, the Adeptus Custodes, because that's really what's important. So, yeah, Adeptus Custodes came out yesterday. I've had time to read through the Codex. I wouldn't consider myself like a super, super expert, but it's not a very, very lengthy book. So I just want to kind of go over a few things, and then we can kind of discuss what we think about these guys overall. They've got some pretty cool abilities. So long as your entire army is battle forged, which basically just means that they're all made up of the same faction, all of your troops get the Aegis. Sorry, not the Aegis. They just get the Aegis. They get a cool version of Objective Secured. What's it called? It's the Sworn Guardians. So anytime you have a unit with the Sworn Guardians, as long as they have one model in range of the objective, they control it regardless of how many enemy models are there. They also get the Emperor's Chosen ability, which improves all of their invulnerable saves by 1 to a maximum of 3+. So your stock Custodian, basically the 2-up armor, 4-up invulnerable save, which is pretty impressive. They also, because they have the Aegis of the Emperor, which is another one of their special rules, every model in the army is just stock got a 5-up invulnerable save.
Yeah.
They all have, every time they suffer a mortal wound in the psychic phase, they all have a chance to save it on a 6. So they have kind of like a cool psychic feel no pain, which is pretty impressive. The book itself, there's not a ton of options in here as far as like unit diversity. It feels like this army is either like the most disgusting elite force ever, or the most fragile glass hammer ever. And I'm not really convinced one way or another. I think they're a little glass hammery because there are going to be so few models in an army here, and they kind of lack in their own book decent long range shooting.
Yeah.
They've got basically you get like a Land Raider, you can take a Dreadnought, and other than that, your only real shooting is basically bolter range, with the exception of the Virtus Praetors, which is the bike unit, and they've got a little bit more range with their missiles and stuff like that because of their speed. Still 24-inch max range on their missile launchers, but they've got a solid 14-inch move, so they're a little bit more threat range there. All in all,
the scariest thing though is like they have to rely. The whole army has to rely on their invulnerable saves to basically shrug off damage.
Well,
but I mean,
yes and no. I mean, they all have 2-up armor, so
right.
They're all fairly beefy.
But there's so much AP out there. Like, I mean, just if one last cannon gets through, like you can smoke a guy, and that's hurtful.
So,
every casualty, but.
You're going to feel the losses for sure.
The problem with relying on the invulnerable saves is there's things that can take it away, like Death Hex or the what's the Imperium one that takes away the invulnerable saves in an area?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
So yeah, that brings up a good point. I think the biggest weakness right now for these guys is going to be psychic powers, which is why I think they have that built-in 6+ kind of feel no pain Z rule against mortal wounds from psychic powers. These guys are definitely there's no psychers, there's no real psycher defense in here, so they're definitely going to have a little bit of trouble with that. But I think that the way that these guys work, I think that they can kind of mitigate some of the enemies like long range shooting like las cannons. I don't think it's really, for me, it's not like, oh, the other guy's got like 6 las cannons, I'm going to get killed. It's more like, oh, the other guy has 4 or 5 times my number of models.
Right.
And it's hard to, I think, kind of keep up with that sort of disparity between force size. Like, basically, it's going to be, can your Custodes activate blender mode and just turn everybody else into gazpacho, or will they get just basically dragged down by a weight of fire? They've got a lot of really cool different stratagems to kind of help mitigate with some of that. Like this is possibly my favorite one. From golden light they come, which is basically a deep strike for your troops. It's 1 CP to put 1 unit of infantry, biker, or dreadnought from your army into a, and I quote, God Strike pattern teleportarium, which is my favorite. It's now my favorite teleportarium. I'm going to just start putting God Strike on everything. Like, this is my God Strike Subaru. I just start putting it on, like, everything I have because it sounds so epic.
My God Strike sippy cup.
Yeah, God Strike sippy cups. So, yeah, 1 CP, you get to throw a unit in there. For 3 CPs, you can put 2 units in there, so you can kind of mitigate. I do think the biggest kind of challenge for playing Custodes, if you're going to play them solo, is how to spend your command points, because you're not going to get a lot of them with this army. And it's like, basically this is like driving around a Suburban. It's always thirsty. Like, it wants the fuel. It needs the fuel, but you only have so much. So you really, I think it's going to be a kind of challenging army. And, you know, obviously there's some stuff you can do to mitigate it, like taking Captain General Valoris, who I prefer to call Admiral General Aladdin, because 2 ranks is always an Aladdin thing to do.
When you first said that to me in the store, I busted out.
It's
pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a thing. So he's pretty sweet. He is arguably one of the best close combat characters in the game right now.
Yeah.
And he also has this thing called the Moment Shackle, which is once per battle. If he is still on the battlefield, you can do one of the following things. He can regain D3 lost wounds. He can pile in and fight a second time in combat. Or he can regain up to D3 command points that you use on a stratagem, but not any more command points than you actually spent on the stratagem. So he's kind of, I feel like Captain General Aladdin is sort of an auto-include in my mind. Like, he's super, super badass, and he has a lot of really important buffers that
I mean, just looking side by side between Admiral General Aladdin and the Shield Captain, it's just
I mean, the Shield Captain, like, I feel like you'll probably bring a Shield Captain just to fill out like a battalion, but the Shield Captain doesn't really do anything extra for you. I think
he's kind of like a basic guy that just is a touch better.
Yeah. So your Shield Captains let you reroll hit rolls of 1 within 6 inches for friendly Adeptus Custodes. Captain General Admiral Aladdin. He's got the legendary commander. He lets you reroll hit and wound rolls of 1 for friendly Custodes within 6 inches.
Yeah.
Instead of just hit rolls of 1. So that's a pretty big deal.
So for us that really don't know much about 40K,
for the 40K muggles, yeah.
what's kind of the fluff behind these guys?
So yeah, that's great. So the Adeptus Custodes are the personal guard of the Emperor of Mankind. So basically, it's this 10,000 strong, super badass unit of dudes who just protect the Emperor.
The 501st.
Yeah, but like the 501st, they're just like higher trained. But they're still they're still wearing like the same armor and stuff like that. And they still have mostly the same kit. Like, these guys have their own, everything's like bespoke. They're all their own separate, armor and weaponry. So like, whereas like the 501st, they get some cool toys and stuff like that, but nothing that's like crazy out of the standard issue.
Okay.
These guys, they're the only ones that get access to this gear. The only ones that can use the armor they have. The only ones that can use the weapons that they have and stuff like that. So it's similar.
Yeah, they have their own personal armory.
And basically, in the background of 40K, for the last 10,000 years, these 10,000 soldiers have been basically sitting around mourning the Emperor's death because they're really shitty bodyguards. Because they literally have one job, it's to keep the Emperor alive, and spoiler alert, they don't. They fail real bad at that job.
I have pictures of the Imperial Guard for Snoke.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's exactly like it's Snoke's bodyguards. Like, look at all of my really kick-ass warriors, and then, oh god, spoiler alert: Snoke dies. If you haven't seen that, I feel like at this point, if you haven't seen Star Wars, you should feel ashamed because it's been out long enough.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Like, I will give people a grace period of 1 week on any Star Wars movie, and after that, you're on your own, dude. Like, I don't have any remorse.
You're on your own.
Yeah,
Run down the streets with your ears plugged.
Yeah,
La la la.
Yeah, you just gotta work for yourself there. Like there's no getting around it. But yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. So the terrible bodyguards at this point, because they failed the only one protection that they needed to do. So
one job.
Yeah, right. So Rabute Gilliman, or Bobby G, as I like to call him. Bobby G comes around and he's like, "Why are you kids all sitting around moping and listening to My Chemical Romance? To get your ass out there and fight." You're like, it's like literally the best troops they could possibly have in all of the Imperium. For 10,000 years, they've basically been like sitting on their hands, like, "No, we're bad at our job." And he's like, "Quit your bitching, get out there and fight." So that's basically why this codex is out now. So it's kind of going along with the evolving storyline in 40K.
Bobby G turning off the Black Parade and getting kids.
Yeah, Bobby G basically pulled the plug on their Beats by Dre headphones. It was like, stop crying, stop wearing your sister's jeans, and get out there and fight.
Get to work.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Get a job, you bum.
Right. You're 26. It's time to move out of our basement. Like, that's essentially what's going on. Like, you have to get your own apartment now.
Like, I mean, it's time. You have a decent job.
You can't go to community college for 6 years.
No,
sorry.
No.
Cool. So that's about it for miniatures this week.
That's all the Custodes stuff. There's definitely a ton of other spoilers that came out this week.
Ooh, let's talk about LVO.
Yeah, so LVO, New Games Workshop, who is so beautiful and sweet to us and doesn't hit us anymore, spoiled a ton of stuff this weekend at the Las Vegas Open, which is like one of the biggest miniature gaming events in the world. And they spoiled some things that I am super pumped about. So first things up, they spoiled the next 3 codexes coming out for Warhammer 40K in order. So we get the Drukhari, which are Dark Eldar. If you're a little more veteran player, that's what they've renamed the Dark Eldar. Following the Dark Eldar, which I know is going to make a lot of people at the shop happy, and you can stop being sad about your codex. The Tau Empire. Tau Empire are getting a book.
I might actually play because I have a Tau army.
And, and that would be great. So the funny thing is, I was actually thinking about doing a campaign that was really centered around Tau, and this is gonna sound really mean.
Here we go.
It's gonna sound really mean. I was gonna pick some armies for the Tau to face off against that were less good, like putting on the kids' gloves, basically. Because I know that our Tau players are a little discouraged about Tau right now.
Just wait till this codex drops.
Just wait, guys. It's coming.
I still have fever dreams of 7th edition Tau.
Of Riptide Wing?
Yeah. Oh, God, no. Or the drone spam with the piranhas. The formation where the piranhas come off and back on and just constantly drop off drones. Everything's marker lighted forever.
God, Tau's so dirty. Optimized stealth contras everywhere. No.
I still have fever dreams of that. And
when somebody was like, the Tau aren't good anymore, I was on the outside, I'm like, oh man, that sucks. And on the inside, I was like, good. Good. Suffer.
Your reign of 10,000 years of terror is over.
Suffer greatly.
No, just wait till this drops. They're just gonna get
they'll be back to kicking everybody in the ass. So. And then following them up is another feel good Z codex for folks is the Necrons. Who actually are really tough to play in this edition.
They really are.
Although they're doing well right now in LVO, which is interesting.
We'll talk about that in a
minute. Yeah. Other things we got spoiled. So in conjunction with the Necron Codex, we know there's a new plastic Necron Cryptek coming out. He looks pretty cool. But that's really the least exciting of the model spoilers for me.
He looks like a Cryptek who's been bench pressing for
he's like
years.
He's like a Ryan Cryptek. He's a swole Cryptek. A swole tech, if you will. The real cool thing I think coming out right now, as far as 40K, is the Knight Armiger. The Knight Armiger is a brand new Imperial Knight with a meat cleaver, giant chainsaw weapon, and I was sold there. My heart is always in love with giant robots. Doubly so if they have large mechanisms that dispense death and hatred. And this guy's got like a double melta-cannon, a colossal chainsaw meat cleaver. I've always wanted a colossal chainsaw meat cleaver. Like if you are ever looking for a birthday present for me, 2 things always on my list: colossal chainsaw meat cleaver, flamethrower. I've always wanted a flamethrower. I've been saying this for like 10 years. I think
there's a reason at this point you don't have one.
It's only because they're, I think, illegal. I could probably.
No, they're actually legal. They're 100% legal to own.
Mom, if you're listening, why have you never got me a flamethrower? It's all I want.
I may be mistaken, but I remember reading like shocking things that are actually legal to own, and I believe flamethrower was on there.
You know, if you work for the federal government and you know what guns and stuff like that are legal and you'd like to come on the show, we'd love to have you.
Any real police officer who wants to mentor us on what is legal and what is not legal.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, at Age of Sigmar, we got a really, really huge spoiler. And I know this is going to be big for a lot of people, but the elves are finally coming back into Age of Sigmar with the Daughters of Cain army, which is essentially led by Morathi, who is the essentially high priestess of Cain, which is the elven god of murder, which is awesome.
Okay.
And the entire faction is like all of her warped followers. And so that these guys, gals, I mean, it's primarily witches. These witches are all like kind of transforming into different demonic things. Like half of them are Nagas that are becoming Medusas. So
and
like,
this is the not dark elves. Because it
no,
kind of sounds like dark elves.
No, they're dark elves. That's what I'm saying. They are dark elves.
Oh, okay.
So they're elves in general, but
right.
like in the flavor, like if you were to like go to the, cold stone of elves, this would be like the double chocolate elves. Like real dark shit going on here.
Now I'm
They're
hungry.
like the death metal elves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of like Yuan-Ti kind of Naga looking half elves. I mean, I guess Gorgon. I don't know what the right thing.
I think it's Gorgon. Yeah.
Sure.
Because Medusa's like a particular person who turned into that race.
Yeah, she is a Gorgon.
Yeah, she
but
is.
Yeah, so there's a lot of there are Gorgons in the army. There are like half witch lady, half snakes, which are phenomenally awesome looking. They're really beautiful models. There's some sort of giant snake, which I think is actually going to be Morathi, like should be a giant Gorgon goddess. And then there are also winged dark elves now too, where they've got like harpy wings, and so they look super cool. The army's going to be crazy beautiful. I expect to see some really good ones painted up at Adepticon this year because it is just fantastic. So if you're looking at getting into Age of Sigmar and you want to participate in our Winter League that we have going currently, these guys literally, they said will be out within a paycheck. So we're looking at 2 weeks max. Ooh. I know what's coming out next week, and it's not them. So I would imagine this is going to be out in about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so
the week after.
Yeah, essentially the week after next, or the week after this weekend when you're hearing this podcast.
And I know next week we're going to get a lot more LVO news from CJ, who's actually there.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's keep a little for him, shall we?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't not talk about these spoilers because I'm so excited.
Yeah.
If you want to come down to the shop and talk with me about these things, I'll be in all week, and I'm basically just going to be sitting here waiting for all of the new hotness to come out.
Outstanding. So, with that, let's move on to talk a little bit about board games. I know I've mentioned this game before, but Stuffed Fables comes out this week, which is once again moving on from demonic elves. Instead, we're demonic stuffed animals.
Yeah.
that are protecting the little girl who's sleeping in the room. I know my daughter's really excited about it, so it's my kind of thing, my kind of game.
It looks really cool. We'll have a demo copy. We actually will have
nice.
an open demo at the store this week. I believe, and don't quote me, I believe it'll be in tomorrow. It's coming out to California, which always takes like an extra day or a day and a half.
Sure.
To get out to us. So, yeah, we will definitely have it. I wish that the closest thing I have to a kid is a niece, and she's definitely not at she's 7. She's definitely not at the point where she's like ready to jump into like deep board games like that. Like her thing right now is like dice, ponies, and like painting miniatures. Like she just learned about painting miniatures and she's like super stoked about it.
Oh, so these do come with miniatures you can paint.
Gotcha. Okay, so that might be a cool thing for her then.
Right.
Yeah, she came into the shop last night and was like super bummed that she couldn't get a whole box of like Skaven. She's like, I want Ratman.
And I want these paints, also these.
Right. Yeah, she was
Citadel
like,
paints.
can I get paints and a paintbrush and Ratman? It's like, how about like a D&D figure to start with? Like,
I want 30 Ratmen.
yeah, right. Like I feel like the attention span for 7 is not necessarily painting 30 Ratmen.
No.
But it was super cute. It was very endearing. I was super excited. I was like, yeah, totally gonna set you up models. Like, so John and Amberly, if you're listening, nailed it.
You're like,
good parenting done right.
When she walked in, she was just like, I want a box of Skaven. Inside, you're like,
yeah, right. Like,
yes,
nailed it.
One thing also I've been playing this week is a game I kickstarted called Folklore: The Affliction, which is basically what they were going for is a role-playing game in a box. And
Folklore: The Affliction is also the name of my screamo band. We mostly play in my mom's garage. I call it a carriage house.
That was my old MySpace profile.
Oh, MySpace.
Folklore: The Affliction.
Justin Timberlake bought MySpace and it got super lame.
Anyway, we're having a good time with that. It's like it's a dungeon crawl kinda but there's a really good story that goes with it. It's kind of a legacy game. So if you're into that and learning how those all work,
if you're playing one of the 8,000 legacy games currently,
there are more coming too.
Isn't it weird too? Like, because I feel like the whole thing got started with Risk Legacy.
Yeah,
right. Like Risk Legacy was like the first legacy game, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And I get it because people like the idea of campaigns, but it's still Risk.
So if you guys go
like,
so everybody calm down a little bit.
You can put as much lipstick on that pig as you want, but it's still Risk.
It's still Risk.
Yeah.
You ever seen a pig with some good eyeshadow? I tell you what.
It's still Risk, though.
Yeah.
That's the catch.
So for those of you who don't know what a legacy game is, it's basically a box you open that's a game that you play through the story one time, typically. And there's boxes you open up, there's cards you scratch the little scratch thing with a quarter and unlocks other parts of the game. So the guys are here doing hand gestures.
Because we're both basically like 8.
Yeah.
So like if we're not talking, we're like looking around for something to play.
I have to
fidget spinners upstairs.
No, like I was
Do
messing.
you really have fidget spinners?
I have kids, of course. I have fidget spinners.
So no, like I was messing with the cup holder and it made some noise, and I was like, "Crap, that's probably a bad idea for the recording." So I was like, "I'll mess with this cable," and I'm just messing with the cable. Yeah. And,
percussion. Yeah. Anyway,
side note.
That's Folklore. So Pokemon, there's a Pokemon thing happening.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Pokemon going on at the store, like literally right now. Pokemon pre-release for Ultra Prism, which. I've got to give one thing to Pokemon. I play a little bit of Pokemon. I know a little bit about it. I mean, I definitely grew up with Pokemon at the time, but I haven't really kept up that much with it. I will say this about Pokemon. They do not have any set that is unexciting sounding. Like, every set that they have is like, Crimson Invasion, Roaring Skies, Ultra Prism. They're like, It's all badass. Like, it makes Pokemon feel like a sweet 80s action movie. Like, at any moment, Sly Stallone is going to pop out with a machine gun and a machete and be like, Ultra Prism! Adrian! Like, just, it's always, like, really intense. And I have to say, I really appreciate that about Pokemon. And we've got a decent Pokemon following at the store. So
yeah, it's been really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely good. So definitely a little shout out to them. And
one thing I've noticed though is the artwork has changed. So like when I was in, I think it was middle school when Pokemon first came out, and it was like massive. I was into it, and then I got out of it.
Everyone that had a heartbeat in the 90s was into Pokemon.
No kidding. And then now that I'm working there and I see like the artwork's changed. It's different. They're more like, dare I say, Digimon style now?
Cute.
Oh no. No, like they're more like digital looking. So it's really weird for me to see the old like anime
artwork. All I know is there's more
too.
than 150 of them. I was okay when they put in 151. I was like, all right, Mewtwo, I guess. Now I cannot keep up. Mewtwo, whatever. They were both in there. Like one was 150, the other one was 151. It doesn't matter.
You talk how they're
beside the point.
They sound or they look digital or Digimon.
Yeah. Now like the artwork the art style.
I didn't think I'd be able to work this in, but I was watching news this morning and they had this hologram technology where they're putting old dead artists on stage through a hologram. And one of them is it's in Japan, and it's some sort of anime pop star that is totally made up. That is a hologram on stage. So, the music is written by a computer.
Krieger's wife.
Krieger's wife.
That's exactly what I thought of. Oh, it's a real thing.
And this is why you don't nuke a country twice.
You never do that.
You end up with real weird shit.
Computers, even. I mean, the computer is just. It's not like a tool they're using. The computer is writing the music.
That's bizarre. There's so much bizarre shit that I feel like I see like on the internet from Japan, and I've kind of become desensitized to it now.
Yeah, but no, like I don't think that's a good idea to have a computer writing its own music, because it's a short skip and a hop, because music is like math, and then math is the root of everything, and then we have Skynet. Like
I'd always
cue tinfoil hat.
Right, I'm gonna just throw this out there. I'd always pictured Skynet being like more of a German company.
Yeah, right. But no, apparently.
Like I just wanted my robot overlords to sound more aggressive.
Well, but here's the thing: like, what if the Japanese Skynet is like, this is payback for what you did twice.
Right. Well, I feel like it's just gonna, it's just not gonna sound as mean. You know what I mean?
It's like it starts gonna, it's getting super kawaii and like just like
it's like a super yaoi bot.
Yeah,
I can't even take it seriously. Like,
oh, here come and look at this. Like, boom.
I was more hoping for like some giant German bot, like ich werde dich zu meinem Hund verteilen.
Yeah. But no, it's like, oh, watashi wa connected to see, boom. Like
it's gonna be right. It's gonna be like a cute, helpful voice for like telling me that I'm doomed. I mean, I'm not gonna understand it either.
Yeah. But
so I think that works right into our local pop culture segment here.
Okay.
So Kyle learned about something this morning.
Magical things. God, I love Cheyenne. There is some magical shit that goes down.
Also, the things that make the news in Cheyenne are just
there's
amazing.
some interesting stuff that gets out.
I'll be interested if this makes the news.
Oh, there's no way that it. Oh, you mean like big, like national level news?
No.
Oh, it'll
like
totally
local news.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
On Channel 5.
So anyway,
it's Sunday, man. What else do they have to do right now?
They're all off.
Right about the Albertsons thing that happened.
Yeah.
So take us away, Kyle.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You are just
so
giddy
excited.
about this.
It's so great. So I just watched American Vandal on Netflix, which if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's phenomenal. It's very much my humor. So it's crass, but the beautiful thing is someone basically American Vandal the Albertsons, which is off Pershing. And on the side of the Albertsons, someone drew a colossal dick, including ball hair, which is a really big part of American Vandal. Hashtag who did the dicks? So, like, if you, I'm assuming it'll be cleaned up by the time you hear this. I hope it's not.
Yeah, I hope it's
there is a colossal dick on the side of Albertsons.
I hope like all of the Albertson staff is like just mortified and they don't know what to do.
Right.
And they're just like, just nobody look at it. Nobody look at it.
Like,
and like
they just don't look.
Get in the store.
Oh God, it's so veiny. Why is it so veiny? Like it's so triumphant. Just literally massive dick on the side.
Flabbergasted.
And I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, this thing is massive. Like it is impressive.
That's what I was asking.
After this, I gotta go see it.
Did they need a ladder to?
They're gonna need a lot of help. So here's my thing. Like if I was that store manager, I would definitely drag my feet a little bit, get this cleaned up. Like, gosh, I just don't know how to proceed. I guess I better call corporate. But it's Sunday, so they won't be open until tomorrow. Oh
just
no.
like milk one day.
You gotta let everyone get a good eyeful of
good
that.
Gander of
gander
a shaft.
It's a real impressive specimen, so you're gonna want to see this thing.
The thing that impresses me the most is like they took the time to like put. Did they put veins on it? Do you know? Like,
okay. So in full disclosure, I have not seen it. This comes directly from Jenna.
Oh, all right.
Jenna was the one. She drove past it on her way to her mom's house, and she literally had to tell me about it because she knows.
Yeah.
This is definitely like my kind of humor. Like, I guess I'm just more impressed that someone had the time, like middle of the night, to draw a giant dick.
I want to know, like, How did the planning go? Were they just sitting around, like two guys just sitting around watching American Vandal, and then they were like,
I think so,
you know
because
what?
they put ball hair on it, and that's a big part in American
Yeah,
Vandal.
yeah. But
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of contention about the ball hair.
were they just like, hey, bro, let's try a massive dick on Albertsons?
I imagine they saw American Vandal and went out and basically American Vandal display. Hopefully they're going to draw 27 dicks on 27 Albertsons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That'd be great. Like serial dick
Or just
drawer.
27 dicks on one Albertsons.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Oh, okay. I haven't
not the
seen
same.
American
No,
Vandal,
yeah,
so
yeah, but you
I
can't
don't
just
know
put
the inside
27
jokes,
dicks
but...
on one. So it's 27 dicks spray painted on 27 cars at a staff parking lot at a high school.
Okay.
So you could put 27 dicks on one car, but it just doesn't. It's not the same, right? Then you've just got one car that is basically a bouquet of dicks. Like
I'm
just,
imagining that.
Yeah, right.
Like
it's just
tied up with a ribbon.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's like, here you go. Oh, wow.
The worst part I feel like about a bouquet of dicks is there's always like anytime you get a bouquet of flowers, there's always that one weird flower that's like kind of dying.
There's one dick in there that's like not circumcised.
Yeah,
It's
it's a little awkward, you know.
and it's like,
like just shouldn't have got that one. You know,
it's like weirdly brown and black colored. Like nothing wrong with it, but like it
That went to a
starts.
weird
No,
place,
hold on.
right?
It starts like white and gets speckled. Like, you know what I mean? That'd be weird.
you've put more thought into this than I have.
Oh,
but-
dude, I think about dicks often.
And with that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Some would say a long break.
In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
You guys knew what happens in between recording pause.
There's like a lot of gems that people miss.
The thing that cracks me up is every time we come back from a break, you'll hear Kyle like every time, and it's because of your Wayne's World countdown.
I love Wayne's World. Like every time I do the Wayne's World countdown, it makes me giggle. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
So we decided this week's topic would be running D&D games, running role-playing games, and maybe some of our experiences, some of the same things we've run into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of D&D.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it's not penises. That's not our topic this
I
week.
feel like it's not surprising to me that it's not penises.
Speak for yourself.
Sure, I mean, maybe you're into some cooler D&D. You're like into the hot tub session D&D, like Hot Tub Lady or whatever. It's very like there's a good D&D story.
Yeah, there's a good real good D&D story, but that involves CJ and he's not here.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I feel bad telling CJ's D&D hot tub story because it's
Yeah, we
really-
can't
it's his
we
story.
can't take that. So
We'll put that on the
we'll
shelf.
put a
I
pin in
guess.
that.
Yeah,
we'll put a pin in it.
we'll come back to Hot Tub Lady.
Yeah.
So I'm currently running one D&D game weekly, and starting up a second here in the next. Well, I think we're starting Zero Session this week, which Zero Session is when we all just get together and we make characters. And,
Now, is that a store game or a personal game? With Zero?
the one I'm starting is going to be a personal game here on my game table that needs some love.
It's a sweet game.
It's nice. Real nice.
Once a month, I try to run a Starfinder game. So, for those who don't know what Starfinder is, it's Pathfinder in space. Anyway,
it's the aptly named Starfinder.
definitely, we're playing for two of them. It's the same game, and for all three, it's all different types of people that are playing the game.
It took me. So I've been playing role playing games for I don't know, like 18ish years.
Right.
Let's just say 18 years. It took me a while, like maybe at least a good 10 or I dare say even 15 to really realize there are a lot of different types of people that play RPGs and a lot of different styles of player, and they're all still valid, right? But it's like part of the challenge to I think being a good GM as I'm sure GM Drew can attest,
I don't know what you're about to say. Maybe
is trying to find a way to take all of those styles of player and make an experience that's fun for all of them, and that they can all enjoy. Because like you've always got like your person who's just like, I just want to hit things. Like you're like player who just wants to smash all of the monsters. You have your player who like just wants to build a super character and doesn't care about anything else. You got your character or your player who just wants to loot everything. The people that just want to role play and they don't really care about combat. Like there's a wide variety of players, and I feel like that's part of the challenge is like finding a game that is going to appeal to all of them, because you never quite know who you're going to get.
And also, I guess, mixing personalities too in your
It
game.
can be, yeah, and I think that's a big difference. Like when you talk about mixing personalities, like that's a big difference versus, because the way I see like RPGs, there's kind of two games, right? There's like the home game, which is generally your group of friends or people who you're going to become friends with, and then there's like the con game or the store game, right? Like the organized play game, and they're very different experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even the weekly game that I run at the shop has a ton of differences from the con games that I go to.
Yeah.
Where the con games, typically they're one shots. You show up with a character that the GM has brought along with you, and they're definitely different. It's what I've noticed about con games. Maybe not so much in D&D, but some of the other games that I play is it's very more role playing experience.
And that's interesting because my experience with con games is it's very much like Murder Hobos. It's just like Murder Hobos.
What system?
For D&D, I haven't done. In all fairness, I haven't done like a lot of Savage Worlds and stuff like outside of home games. I've played a lot of RPGs that are like home games, but like my organized play experience is almost exclusively D&D. And it's almost always been like Murder Hobos at cons. It's been like, we kill the shopkeeper and take his goods. Like it's just like people just rolling around like, yeah, we could negotiate with these bad guys or we could smash their heads in.
Honestly, I think that lends itself to D&D itself. I think you could role play a lot with D&D, but I think it lends itself more to the kick down the door, smash because I think people sit down with that expectation.
Well, I think for me, it's comfortable, right? Like there's not a lot of expectation for like, having to interact. And it sounds mean, right? But like it's a our hobbies in general have a lot of introverted people in them, and sometimes interacting socially can be stressful or scary to them, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that kind of leads into a lot of the Murder Hobo action you see, where it's lots of just fighting, less, it's very role play light.
Sure.
Because I mean, you'd have to have a full on conversation with a made up, like the DM would be the storekeeper for this argument, and then I can see that.
Yeah, and I think D&D lends itself that way, right? And like, and then you get the opposite end of the spectrum. In my mind, would be things like the Star Wars RPG, like Edge of the Empire, phenomenal system, right? And the coolest thing in my mind about the whole system is the narrative dice. So like that system, I really love what they did with it because they really built story into just every facet of it.
Yeah.
So like even when you're rolling dice, for those of you who aren't familiar with those dice, they don't have numbers printed on their dice. They have basically success, failure, advantage, and disadvantage. And you're always kind of interpreting every dice roll to be some sort of, overall success, overall failure kind of thing. And then using that interpretation to explain what your character's doing, right? So like you can have a really, a cool dice roll where you get a bunch of hits, but you get some disadvantage, like your character just completely goes nuts and like unloads their blaster, and you hit the enemy, but you're out of ammo now, so you got to reload, right? Like, or you can have a whole lot of advantage, but then not a lot of like hits. So like you're being chased by some stormtroopers and you fire your blaster pistol and you don't hit any stormtroopers, but you hit the control panel on the wall and like a door closes between you. Like, so I really like the idea of that kind of narrative. So I feel like it depends on what you're playing.
One thing that you gotta kind of come to the table with as a player, I mean, a GM's role is typically to move the story along and play the monsters, but in those narrative type games, as a player, you have to come with the expectation that you're going to help tell this story.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the best piece of advice I got as a GM was, we're all watching the same movie as we play through this game. And, new DMs will be they're there to kill characters. I think, the 12-year-old GM in my world, I was there to try to kill characters. But as you grow and as you mature as a GM, just that little piece of advice is you're all watching the same movie. You're all watching the same movie.
As you grow and mature as a DM, like shit just got really deep for a split second.
Finally, you blossom into a full GM Drew.
You'll notice as you grow as a GM that your body starts going through changes. Your neck begins to grow more hair.
Well, I will tell you that
You stink a little more.
Oh, yeah.
There's DMs who are way past puberty that still have the same maturity level as some of these 12-year-old GMs.
Sure, yeah. Stinky is a real thing I've run into before at game tables, like con games and stuff.
It happens.
Bathe yourselves.
I'm a
Bathe
miniature
yourselves,
guy,
kids.
right? Like I like the miniatures and the maps and stuff. Really help me visualize the game.
They help me a lot too. I'm also that way. I need those because my imagination's super burned out. I just don't have much left. It's all just fart and dick jokes now, guys. Like, that's what I got.
Speaking of
Repeat
con
a
games,
revolving record of fun digits.
Yeah.
I was at Gen Con a couple years ago, and you pay a lot of money to go to Gen Con, and you take time off work. You can fly there and buy into these games, and the guy shows up to GM our game and literally empties his pockets as miniatures. So I think I was
like with miniature. He was just carrying a bunch of minis in his pockets.
No, even worse. He emptied his junk drawer, put it in his pocket, and came to So I was a button.
What?
My brother.
No.
My son was a paperclip.
I would lose my shit. Like, I can't. Here's the thing, guys. Once you've played with like some really kick-ass shit, like the old things don't work anymore, right? Like, you can't just do the missionary style of D&D anymore. You gotta get some weird stuff now. Like,
I'll be the Mastercraft Lock.
Yeah,
like
no,
I'll be
thanks.
the Barbarian Mastercraft Lock.
Right? Yeah, I would definitely be pissed if somebody's like, "You're a button." I'm like, "No, I am not a button."
I mean,
damn it.
There's stinky GMs too.
I am Valtrog the Mighty. Valtrog the Mighty is not a button. He's a Goliath barbarian.
Whose name almost sounds like Valtrex.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
You just gotta sound. Well, the cool thing is you just gotta name your D&D characters just slightly pharmaceutically.
That what that reminds me of is so Savage Worlds. If you haven't played Savage Worlds, I highly recommend it. It's a great system because it's basically a template system, and you can kind of put whatever over it. And that just reminds me of one called I think it's Low Life.
Where you're a bug.
Yeah, so it's like Low Life, and forgive me if I'm, screwing up the name here, is a post-apocalyptic setting where you are literally everything that survives an atomic war. So like there are cockroaches and there are like cake snacks that you can play. Wow. So like right, like you can play a race of like hostess snacks called the Cream Fillions. And it's so phenomenal, like
Twinkie.
Yeah, right. No, so like the example character is Dingus of the Dong, he of the Cream Fillion, and he's like a ding dong that's like a fighter. He's got like a shield. He's battling like cockroaches. Super cool.
Yeah, and Savage Worlds, by the way, has a lot of cheeky stuff like that.
It does, yeah. Savage Worlds has got a lot of really fun things.
I'm picturing basically like off Wreck-It Ralph, the like donuts that are cops.
Oh yeah,
I'm basically picturing
like
that. That's awesome.
If somebody wants to run that game, I will totally play in it.
I'm down.
I want to be Dingus of the Dong. I love playing barbarian characters. It's one of my favorite character types to play in D&D because they're very simple, very easy to play, and you can. For me,
murder blenders.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess for me more than anything, I like the barbarian character because you can always like if you have a group of players who get really really rough with like analysis paralysis, you can just basically lose your shit as a barbarian and force the story forward by just running screaming into a room, like smashing things with an axe. Like, it's very, very easy to play, and I really appreciate that.
Maybe I'll be able to run that after I get back from Genghis, because I only play Savage Worlds when I'm at Genghis, so I have to relearn the rules a little bit. And
sure.
And I think I'm playing in 3 or 4 sessions this time. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
maybe after I come back, after I'm a little refreshed.
I would absolutely.
Would you guys like
to? Would
you guys like to watch us play an RPG.
Yeah, comment.
Yeah, let us know. Like, comment, subscribe.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
If you're watching this on YouTube, ring the bell.
dingle.
No, but seriously, if you, I mean, we're certainly looking to add more content and do more things. This is a lot of fun for us, and as weird as it sounds in my mind, if you want to watch us play games,
Yeah.
I promise there'll be lots of fart jokes and banter.
Yeah, if you like the banter here, you should hear what we don't put on.
That would be the hardest thing about recording a video is you have to self censor a little bit.
A little
there.
bit.
Yeah.
There's
Because we're definitely trying to keep this PG-13
ish
ballpark.
I don't think I've dropped an F-bomb yet.
No, this could be. Oh no, we've said shit and bitch.
Yeah, no, but you can say shit and bitch. You can say shit.
Well, no,
all
I
you
was
want.
gonna say
You say shit on network television. That's
right.
PG-13.
I was just gonna say we're on the side of PG, but then I auto corrected myself in my head.
Sure.
Yeah. So I have a running monologue. Leave me
No,
alone.
yeah, no. I think everybody does, right?
Yeah.
Head movies. That's what I call it.
Yeah, I refuse to use that because you like to take the claim that when anyone uses it, you're like, that was me.
No, I don't say that at all. That's not me.
Yes, you do.
No. Everybody always I'm using it because you use it. I don't ever say it. I'm not oh, you said the thing I said. That's not my jam.
I've learned there's 3 things that are said down at the shop continuously.
Yeah.
That I don't know who they
Head
came
movies.
from. Well, that's a
I hear that a
that's
lot.
a newer one though.
Okay. What are the 3?
So I'm old, so this might be not shop specific, but just younger people.
He's going to say
that's a thing.
Twitter or something. Oh, that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing that gets said a lot.
For sure.
Sure. Yeah. And you're not wrong.
You're not wrong. No, right is one that's it. Right? For sure.
Huh.
I say you right a lot.
I definitely say that's a thing. Yeah. That's a thing
And
I say.
it's made it into my vernacular as
Good.
well.
Good.
Your
Spicing up
lexicon.
vernacular.
My lexicon. Anyway, back to
I just love the
running
word lexicon.
games.
Listen to us talk about exciting shit like lexicons.
I like the word lexicon
We're
because
using big words.
I imagine
Ooh.
it's a book, like a giant leather-bound book just full of all the words you use in your head. So it's and it just opens up to a random
Some people's
page.
books are smaller than others. Than
Yes, some people's lexicons are smaller than others.
like
One
picture
thing
book
I
style.
wanted to touch on in this
up.
subject
What's that?
is dealing with difficult players.
Sure.
I've got a little bit of a situation that I'm not looking forward to dealing with, where the players are, they're difficult. And I don't want to get into specifics because some of them do listen to this show. But what do you do with difficult players that are
Here's my
particularly ruining it for the other people?
Sure. So yeah, it's a great question. Here's what I would say about that. Having worked in industry for going on 8 years now, I've been doing this for a little while. I find that the best policy is just talk to people, right? Like, people are generally pretty receptive to just being talked to. Like, you certainly want to do that. Like, it's the thing you basically, when you get time away from the game, you just say, hey, here's some issues. Like, I think for me, I would honestly say probably my most frequent one that I have to do is like either people having like a body odor, which a lot of times people just don't know, they just don't realize that they do, or people saying like stuff that's maybe not appropriate for whatever the setting is, right? If you have like young kids at the table and they just can't stop dropping F-bombs and stuff like that,
Or insensitive things.
Yeah, or insensitive things. Yeah, like, honestly, I can honestly say in my 8 years of working in the industry, I've never had anything that was like super, super bad. And like I said, the vast majority might have been like people who like maybe have body odor or like have a weird, habit that they do.
There was one you told me about that I'm not going to repeat here, but it was just like when you told me, I was shocked. I was like, holy crap! Why would someone say that?
And I don't think that was a player. I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So one thing I'm dealing with right now is I've got a player who thinks the whole game is about his character.
And that's a player that they talk about, like even in the DMG, they talk about that kind
right,
of player. And it's tough.
It's I'm getting better at it. I've always been able to kind of redirect the story a little bit,
Sure.
But
Well,
yeah.
in minor devil's advocate, everyone kind of wants a story about their own character.
Every game really is about me.
I know, Kyle. I've ran games.
Drew's talking about me. No.
No, like, I mean, everyone wants to be the movie star,
Yeah, I mean,
not the supporting
some of that.
character.
Sure,
But-
but you've got to share.
Oh, I
You have
know.
to share
share
the
the
spotlight.
loot and
Yeah, I think a big part of it is learning as a player is learning how to share that spotlight, right? Like it's, I mean, if you are extroverted, like I'm extroverted for sure. I like talking and I like talking about stuff. So even for me, like I have to sometimes remember to kind of rein my shit in and not take over a game. I don't want to run everybody's experience. I just want to participate. And at this point, in gaming, I don't get time to play very often. I'm a very delinquent player in my current Pathfinder campaign that I play in. Shout out to Colin and Laurel. Yeah. Colin's a fantastic DM. If you ever get a chance to play with him, I highly recommend it. Really, really do enjoy his stuff. But yeah, I mean, you have to remember to not take the spotlight. And I think that's, as much as anything, all RPGs are cooperative games, right? You're all cooperating to tell the same story. And you have to remember to, not be the only character talking, right?
yeah,
Let
it's
the
not
other-
World
let the
of
other
Warcraft.
characters-
It's not an MMO where
Yeah.
it is all about you.
Right. You gotta let the supporting characters have, some lines. Like, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
I guess it was a good topic.
Yeah. An interesting topic. Things got deep today.
There's a lot more we could say about this, and we could probably have 3 or 4 episodes about this. But
We probably could. But, I mean, that wouldn't be exciting, though.
No. Part 2 of the RPG.
RPGs, a fireside chat.
Part 2. As we sit along the gaming table, we begin to chat about proper etiquette.
Are you making this into an RPG right now?
Yeah. I was going to RPGception.
Oh, man, I can't handle that.
all right, we're rambling.
Yep.
Now it's time for the road to Adepticon.
The road to Adepticon. The Road to Adepticon, brought to you by Charleston Chew, Snacky S'mores, and War Bonds. Buy more War Bonds to keep our boys flying. Also brought to you by the M1 Grand. Stack 'em high, boys. Stack 'em high. Join us on our journey to discovery and army building for Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar. No, you're not wrong.
Every time we come back.
Welcome to the road to Adepticon. We're just going to chat really quickly about what we're doing to get ready for Adepticon. For those of you who don't know, Adepticon is the mecca of all miniature wargaming tournaments, which is definitely my passion. So I'm going to blab about it, and you guys get to hear my boring spiel for a couple minutes. But we, at the time of this recording, currently have 52 days, 17 hours, 26 minutes, and 50 seconds until Adepticon.
Yay.
Which is terrifying to me because guess how many models we have done for either of the 3 events I'm in. If you guessed 0, you would be correct.
Really?
I literally... So, okay.
Well, you keep changing your damn
I know,
list.
we're really bad. I'm really, really flighty in my decisions on armies, and so is our team. So our team had a little bit of a shakeup. We had one of our guys who was originally going to Cadman, cannot go, can't get the time off for work, so we called in our backup man, called in 40k Rain Man, Ace.
Called in your ace in the hole.
Seriously, yeah, Ace in the hole. Seriously,
Ooh,
Ace.
I like it.
Ace is. We're gonna give you some props here, Ace, because he is basically the raid man of 40k. Like he just puts some models in front of that kid, and he's like, "I'm gonna go win." Like that's what he does. So he's a great backup guy to have in the team. So I'm really happy he's able to come along. That'd be good. We were doing last time we were doing Emperor's Children. We've completely scrapped that idea since it was like our 5th idea anyway. And now we're doing Adeptus Custodes because they're the new cool thing.
Cult of the New.
Cult of the New. So it's also part of our idiom. We have this really bad habit of picking armies that are really beautiful, but are really hard to play and very unforgiving. So we just try to make them look beautiful. We try to play to that. I have no doubt that we will get our brains flushed out by all of the shit-kicking lists we're going to run into. We're going to get beat up, but we're going to look really good while we get beat up. It's going to be pretty.
You're going to have a good time.
So, basically what I'm working on right now is I've actually started building some of the models. Like we're really committed. I had some of the models built for the Emperor's Children, but not too many. So I started building some of the stuff, like Bobby G. I'm putting Bobby G in my list, and Saint Celestine. I've started working on them. and we got to get painting on them because we have like no time whatsoever. And we did last year we did the Thousand Suns, and it was like a really ambitious project because it was a lot of painting to do. And like this time last year, we were like kicking into gear. Like we were like halfway done at least, and like we're not even really started right now. It seems like. My Age of Sigmar army is also one of those kinds of like looks good, doesn't play as good armies. I'm playing the Caradron Overlords. Super beautiful. Yeah, represent. All of you 9 Caradron players out there, you know that I'm going to carry us to
mediocre town.
Yeah, mediocrity, here we come. Yeah, they look great. I'm really happy with how they're coming along. I've had a lot of fun painting them. They're really cool steampunk, and I'm very much a fan of steampunk. If you're into that and you like, some miniatures, I definitely check out the Caradron Overlords. They're really cool. Almost done painting my Endrin Riggers, which are my sky balloon mechanics. And they've been a lot of fun. The mechanics, or as the Caradron would call them, elite soldiers.
They're good.
They are really good.
They're the best thing
there was
about
like
army.
there was like a moment where I was like, maybe I just don't take any of the ships whatsoever for Caradron, and I just take all infantry. And I think it would be way better. It would play a lot better. But I can't do it. I can't make that concession because the ship is so pretty, and it feels like so much a part of their theme that I just cannot give it up. So I'm not going to make the concession, and I will pay for it in blood, in all of my tears as I'm picking up my pretty models after the mean men hurt me.
After the 10-foot murder men come.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, here comes the 9-foot gold-plated armor dudes with giant hatchets. Like, oh well.
I guess my padded jacket wasn't. So
yeah,
good.
and I'm still waiting for the new Necromunda gang, the Orlocks, to come out. My backup is just to take Goliath gangers, but I'm actually playing in a Necromunda. I know. I'm actually playing in a Necromunda event, and I really, really want to take Orlocks because I want to make the Morty Town logos so bad. I'm super pumped about that. But yeah, it's coming along. Hopefully on the next road to Adepticon we'll have more like interesting stuff to tell you. We'll actually have like some painting down. I've got a paint scheme in my head, and I've just got to we're gonna get some models built. I know Richard Coles is probably actually building models right now for our army. He's building a bunch of Custodians, and we're gonna get them painted soon, and it's gonna look so pretty. And we'll share pictures and stuff with you.
Look like gold.
Yeah, but hopefully not too much gold. No. Yeah, I'm hoping it looks good. Worst case scenario, it'll still look decent, and they'll travel well because it's only like 20 models. It's not a lot of models to take to the tournament. So,
with that,
yeah,
let's end this podcast.
This possum.
This possum cast.
I was thinking podcast episode at the same time. So
yeah,
possum.
Goodbye, everyone.
All right, we'll see
Goodbye,
you next week.
Movie House.